Hi everyone, we are back. Today we are going to talk about the reproductive system. I know you've all been looking forward to this, so let's go ahead and get started. The goal behind this presentation is to give you a good idea of what the function of the reproductive system is, how it works, how the different parts work, and to discuss connections to other systems and connections to Mrs. Grin. So let's go ahead and get started. So to begin with, obviously, we need to ask the question, why do organisms reproduce? Basically, it comes down to the fact that organisms want to make more of themselves, make babies. Scientifically, this is called to propagate the species, which is to continue the species, and that is the main reason why organisms reproduce. Basically, reproduction introduces genetic variety to organisms. Mix up the genes. By mixing up the genes, organisms become more healthy. The more combination of different types of genes allows organisms to be more fit to be able to survive. So we reproduce to make more of ourselves and to introduce genetic variety. There are several types of reproduction. First type would be considered asexual. These are organisms that just split in two, think bacteria. So these do not need a partner. They reproduce simply by splitting in two and creating two exact duplicates of one another. So the advantage of this is you don't have to worry about finding a mate. All you do is you divide your genes and then divide yourself in half, and you have got two daughter organisms from the one parent organism. Disadvantages to this is that there's no mixing of genes. Basically, every single organism is a clone of one another. So how this works is, here's a bacteria. Its nucleus divides, and then the cytoplasm, or the body itself, divides, and there are two identical daughter cells. Of course, it doesn't work quite like this, but we've got Homer Simpson here splitting in two, cloning himself as well. Not really how it works, but good example for you to think about making copies. Another way that organisms reproduce is by teaming up with someone else. That is called sexual reproduction. This is a bit more complicated, but it ends up being a good thing in the end. The advantage to this kind of reproduction is that genes are mixed together, allows for differences in individuals. These differences help species survive if conditions change. We're going to talk more about this when we talk about evolution. Disadvantage to this, of course, you've got to find a partner. You've got to find somebody who is willing to reproduce with you and to share their genes with you. That is not always an easy thing. So, connections to other systems as far as reproductive system goes. Of course, we could say the circulatory system. As always, the circulatory system brings nutrients, oxygen to the organs in the reproductive system. It takes away wastes like carbon dioxide, those things away from the system. Also, we could say the nervous system. Because senses allow individuals to find mates. We are able to see them, hear them. We use our nervous system to find our mates. All right, so as far as Mrs. Grin goes, one of the R's in Mrs. Grin deals specifically with what we're talking about, reproduction. This is the cells splitting in two to make new cells. It's also organisms making babies. So we've talked about this all year long, that reproduction can be the splitting of cells, creating new cells in the body, reproduction that way. But as we've been alluding to all year, it is also organisms with other organisms making babies. All right, let's get to some of the parts. First of all, females. In the animal world, females are the pickier of the two sexes. The reason this is because they spend their time and energy making the egg to be fertilized before or for reproduction. And what they want to make sure of is that they get the best father for their children. So they're expending the energy making the eggs, and then after that, having the child develop within them. They want to make sure that the father of the child has the best genes possible. They want a male with good, strong genes, and if mated for life, one that is a good provider. In the human population, we are looking for good providers, and this happens in the animal kingdom as well. Looking for another mate that will provide well for the family as a whole. Females are usually the smaller, less showy of the two as well. You'll notice this mostly in birds. The female birds typically tend to be more bland colored. We've got the elk. The females don't have the antlers. They tend to be rather plain. Same with the lionesses in a pride. Of course, we humans are a little bit different. The women typically are more about appearance than other females in other species. All right, as far as the males go, in the animal world, of course, the males are usually bigger, more colorful, as I said before, more combative. They fight more, and they're louder. So all of this is done to attract a female, to impress her with his good genes, and to show how he would be the best possibility for a mate that female has. So let's talk about how it is that animals find their mate. Now this is fun. There's a few different ways. Usually the males must attract the females. Females then get to choose the male they think would best provide genes, good strong genes for their children. Sometimes the males have to fight to be able to get what they want.
He has fought all challengers and won, in fights that are sometimes to the death. Throughout the months of September and into October, this violent behavior occurs each year within the elk populations. Males, called bulls, fight each other for females, called cows, and with each successive fight, the winning bull continues to build a collection of cows, called a harem. A challenger will alert the herd bull that he wants to fight by bugling. Then, in a show of aggression, the challenger rakes trees with his antlers. If the herd bull feels the loss of his harem is threatened by a challenger, then the fight is on. And it's not over until one of them either dies or gives up and runs away in cowardice. Then, for the winning bull elk, it's back to his harem, where he is king, eventually mating each female as he has proven genetically superior to all other males. And then next season, it will all begin again like this. In the Selkirk Mountains of Idaho, where the bulls are fighting. Proud storytellers, I'm Dan Barth, KXLY4 HD News.
Sometimes the male has to show off to get what they want. Just so you're aware, we've got 4 videos. The first one will be on this segment, and then the next 3 will be in the next installment of this set of notes. Time for one more, so here's another one of us as males showing off.
It's a lonely life, but that's why flamingos come here. With a place all to themselves, they have the privacy to dance.
This always reminds me of the hallways in between classes, the boys showing off in groups walking up and down the hallways. Yes, we can see it in flamingos as well.
These are Chilean flamingos, but wherever there are flamingos in the world, they do the same dance.
These videos can only be 15 minutes in length, so the next video will continue on showing us what male animals do to show off to win the female. So come on back to the second video.